Hello, this is Stephen Woods, and I am the Director of Research and Development at the Center for Post-Carbon Logistics, giving a short overview on the sail freight situation in the United States. Now, the Center for Post-Carbon Logistics is a small nonprofit. We engineer, educate, and advocate for small ports and small vessels to revive sustainable short sea shipping in the U.S. Now, we target short sea shipping and replacing trucks because that is where we get the biggest bang for our buck when we're talking about emissions reduction. We are focused on the Northeastern United States, and as a result, trucks are very inefficient because of highway congestion, and so we can remove a lot more CO2 per ton kilometer we move by shifting from trucks to sail freight than by competing in a transoceanic market, for example, crossing the Atlantic. Now, we've done quite a bit to check and analyze the stakeholders involved in this particular industry. And so we have here an analysis of the schooner Apollonia, which is the only sailing cargo vessel in the U.S. And here we have a layout of the stakeholders involved. We're focused on a number of these, but mostly the overlapping areas. And these are the people we usually try to work with, though some of these are ecosystems and things that really are involved and should hold a stake, but don't have a direct voice. Now, over the last year, we have been developing a business model that really works in our region and should work elsewhere that will effectively make this a competitive industry compared to trucking. This we wrote an entire report on, myself and two other MBA students at the University of Vermont. That is available online on ResearchGate. It's the Sail Freight Business Handbook. And this business model appears to be effective, and it is what we plan to expand. We are offering Scope 1 and 3 emissions reduction. Cost stabilization or reduction for customers is a big priority. And then brand differentiation or product differentiation, climate action credentials, and other elements are really taken as a secondary offering. And we are looking at business-to-business sales and mostly in coastal and archipelago environments. Now, the reason for this is because we're looking at small vessels. And here, 3 different vessel selections, 15 gross registered tons, 50 gross registered tons, and 100 gross registered tons, because the U.S. is still stuck on the Morstam system from 1850 instead of keeping up with the ICT tonnage measurements. However, as you can see, the higher your effective tonnage, which is the number of tons you put on the dock on a day, on average, the shorter the range. And so we're doing a business model that's designed around high frequency and low tonnage per trip, but an aggregate tonnage over the year that's high enough to pay bills. We're looking at things that are under 300 miles. In some cases, we're looking at routes that are only about 50 miles, but replace a trucking route, which is 120 or more miles. Now, the main value proposition, which is business ease for what you offer to people, here is cost stabilization. Sail freight has a very unique cost structure, which is that almost everything is a fixed cost. That is not the case with trucking. Almost everything is a variable cost. So it changes constantly with trucking fees, whereas we can offer the same price all year and not really run a risk of destroying our financial underfooting. So we are looking at a strategy of essentially predictably and competitively priced between ports to replace trucks. And this can be done. We've been finding markets where this will work. And we don't have to be the lowest price. We just have to be the most reliable price and within the competitive range for trucking. In some cases, though, this is a route from Boston to Provincetown. It's 120 miles trucking. It's about 49 miles sailing, right on in Massachusetts on Cape Cod. And as you can see, our RFR, which is just for operations expenses, it doesn't include a margin to actually pay off the ship, is under the cost of trucking. So if we charge a competitive rate with trucking, we'll be able to pay that ship off in about 5 years and pay back investors. So that would be a viable route where we're offering to cut out all of the variability you see on those red and blue lines and make it a nice solid, say, $320, and we will probably be able to sell the ship solid. And for the business owner, really what they're looking to avoid are those high spikes up that happen suddenly and without warning. Those are what's going to hurt the business owner, so that's what we're trying to eliminate. Occasionally they may save money compared to us because the price dips below, but that doesn't happen often enough, and the spikes up are the really big threat to their budget. Now, we are also looking at some places where we can be the cost leader, the lowest price option, and still give a high quality service. This is going to be other places, mostly around coastal islands, where it's very expensive to operate the ferries, and therefore we can't do very much. And we can offer a reasonably good quality service at significantly lower prices. Also in Massachusetts, take a look at this chart. That's the difference between trucking things to New Bedford and then or trucking them to Martha's Vineyard via the ferry. The island of Martha's Vineyard is just off the coast. It's about 29 miles of sailing from New Bedford. It's 7 miles from Woods Hole, where the ferry is. But there's a frequently like $670 difference between the price of trucking to New Bedford and trucking to Martha's Vineyard. And we can cut down to around $300 and be very happy, pay off the boats very quickly, and offer a better service for around half the price. That should be pretty good for our marketing. But again, short range, high frequency with relatively small vessels. Now, we've done some serious comparisons. The viability metric was whether consumer surplus was increased, which is the little red part of the box in the supply and demand graph on the top right. Basically, will people save money by using this service? That's the commercial viability element. The other part is how many tons of carbon can we get rid of? And as you can see, for just these three contracts, Boston to Provincetown with 500 GRT schooners going back and forth, so that'd be about an 80-foot schooner, so just under 24 meters, we could remove 503 tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere every year by replacing those trucks. A trunk route with a single ship going back and forth between Boston and New York City could charge half of what is currently charged per pallet and save over 1,000 tons of CO2 per year. And that's with about 150-ton capacity ship. And if we moved all the trash from New York City to New Jersey with 29 ships of about 500 tons each, we could remove a lot of carbon. I don't think we'll get to that contract anytime soon with scale, but that is something to aspire to. Now, how do we get there? How do we get to this? We need to take care of a few things, and that's where the nonprofit side comes in very handy. We need to do efficient cargo handling in ports, which are served by ships that are crewed by the properly licensed people. That's what we're working on as the Center for Post-Carbon Logistics. Now, we are developing a container system that is based on pallet standards. So this will be a pallet-sized container that can be lifted on and off ships, which reduces a lot of risks and increases financial viability. It's designed to work with small sail freighters and with cargo bikes. So it's zero carbon on all ends of the transportation chain. That is underway with the University of Vermont. This is another element that we're working with for the ports. A lot of ports don't have a huge amount of money to invest in a lot of infrastructure. Therefore, we're designing modular infrastructure that can be deployed temporarily and on a very small investment to move smaller amounts of cargo before there's a good reason to invest in a large amount of port infrastructure at these small ports, which are places that only handle a couple thousand tons of cargo a year at the moment. The other element that we need to go between those ports and handle that cargo is ships. We're working on this. These designs are various ones that are currently out there or being discussed. One of them is on the left is the Trade Sailor project, and we plan to work with them. But this is a critical element. We are going to design a suite basically of sail freight vessels using modern rigs, modern tech, integrated cranes, and cargo handling gear that are open source, so that anyone can take these plans, build this ship, and put it into service if it fits a route near them. Now, these are a longer-term project. We hope to have them out by 2027, and they are slowly under development. We're trying to find more funds in order to work on this. Once they are ready, though, they will be available worldwide on our website for anyone to download, bring to a shipyard, get estimates, get it built, and get it in the water. We are also working on training. We are working on creating syllabuses, exams, practicals, complements, all the stuff that you need to do to get a training course accredited in the United States and start getting customers in the working sail industry, which is right now is mostly sail training. So this will be very in-depth, but it will be very, very much down the line by a couple of years before we really start getting this program underway, but we're planning for it now. We're also working on a campaign to increase the 4As of sail freight in the U.S., which is a bit of a thing. It's going to take some effort. But the 4As are acceptability, affordability, accessibility, and awareness. We need to raise those through media campaigns so that when we are ready to deploy a fleet, people are willing to accept that this is a viable method of moving cargo. It's accessible to them both mentally and physically. It is affordable so that bills are not going up for either consumers or for businesses, and that, of course, they're aware that this is a thing that we could do. The last question really, of course, is how long will this take? Well, some things are already underway. Microcontainer design will be done by May of this year. A team of UVM students, University of Vermont students in the engineering program, are doing it as their capstone project for their senior year. The other elements we're hoping to get going by early 2026 and have those developed and launching. And as you can see, we're hoping by the second quarter of 2027 to have vessels in the water. And we may be able to do that earlier. That, of course, depends on funding and a few other things. As a nonprofit in the United States, that is always an open question as to whether we will have the funding that we need. If you would like to help, you can volunteer to, if you're a naval architect, that might mean working on an open source sail freighter or any number of other things. You can donate to the center. The website is right there. The QR code will bring you to our website as well. Or as sail freight operators from Europe, call on U.S. ports. Bring cargo into Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Wilmington, Delaware, pretty much anywhere, because that will show that this is possible and that there are more people doing this, which will only help us to create more buzz and more enthusiasm in the United States. That concludes what I have for you. I hope you enjoy the Schooner Festival. And if you have any questions, my email is right there, stephen@postcarbonlogistics.org. Anyone who can identify the ship there gets 5 points, but don't worry, there's no prize. All right. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.